good morrow. Or as they say, they being me. Hey, hey. It has been a while since I have been around. How is everybody doing today? Whew, sorry, I ran up the stairs. How is everybody doing on this fine diddly doodling day? That music was a jam? Yeah, I have it in the description. It was, it's like a Windows 98, Windows XP, like, remix sort of thing. Yes, but no, it has been a while since I have done anything. Almost, what was it, 9 days ago was when this outfit showed up, and then I disappeared. I have a tendency to do that. I'll debut something and then just completely vanish for a week. This happened when I debuted my new model too. I like showed up with the new model and then just poof, was gone. That snap register. Anyways, HA, yes, you're my biggest air conditioner. I actually don't have an air conditioner, so sad. I want one. Man, when I was house sitting for Zero one time, and she has 2 air conditioners, and it was during the summer, and it was crazy hot, I would just like turn on the air conditioner and just do work in the living room, and I was just like, ah. That's right, now I get to do math, finally. I finally get to do math again, I say. But I was actually helping my friend right before stream. I was helping my friend with her homework, where she was learning about the basics of machine learning. So that was fun. That was a fun little refresher for me, where I got to explain to her kind of how PCA works, how k-means clustering works. That was fun. It's a good refresher for me because I haven't really messed with machine learning much since I wrote my paper. So, hopping. But anyways, enough about me. How is everybody else doing? How has everybody's day been? How has everybody how has everybody's week been? I didn't get to see you guys for a week, and so I want to hear about your week. Hey Kikado! You like bombs? That's what Divide by Zero will get you. Just kidding. It will get you a black hole. But that's I've been recording a bunch, so I'm like stuck in that talk. The like kind of like this which is basically Simlish, but machines can't learn. Yeah, they can. Machines are people too. There's a store I once saw called Pets Are People Too, which I get the point of the name, but I feel like it is flawed. It's inherently flawed. The name Pets Are People Too, there can be implications. Having a good day, you picked up extra shifts. Awesome. More money, mama more money, mama more emotes, mama more emotes, mama more artwork, mama more artwork, mama more stream thumbnails, mama more stream thumbnails. You just keep streaming and then you become addicted to it, and then you go, why am I doing this? You're like, how's this is what I do for fun. Then you try to explain to your family what you do for fun, and you're like, well, I'm an anime boy on the internet. And they're like, what? And you're like, I'm friends with I'm friends with other mathematicians. And they're like, wait, they're like anime people like you? And you're like, uh-huh. And then they just kind of stare at you blankly. Your week's been good. You finished up class, you're heading back stateside for break. Awesome. Oh right, it's like spring break right now. That's right. It is a springity, a breakity. That's very exciting. Who doesn't love some spring break? What do people do on spring break? It's like a thing, right? People have like spring break parties. Who wants to go to the beach with me? Who wants to party? Who wants to party with me at the beach? I don't know. And I don't really drink, but your body's a machine that turns labor into commission. I wish. I have to be smart with mine. I had to pay like $1,800 to get my car repaired. So that's what mine That's what my body turns my labor into. Burping so much. My head's leaking out. We have a break? Yeah, pretty common here. Spring break, basically, yeah. It's generally like a week off, and it's not like a full term break, but it's like a in-between break so that people can go get drunk and party. Is not the official reason, but it is, yeah, they go to Orlando and get obliterated. Exactly. They go to Florida and just space laser. You know what other people do, but you'll be writing your capstone paper. Ooh. Capstone. I love capstone projects. My capstone project for my bachelor's, I loved. That was my favorite. Programming and like Carnival. Exactly. Same sort of thing. You just have a week off to get drunk. I say get drunk because college students do that, apparently. Turns out where I went to, where I got my bachelor's degree, is apparently known as a party school. I didn't even realize, but then it explains all the people who were annoying as hell in my dorm. So that makes sense. Go down to Florida and sell people little plastic bags full of oregano. Is that what's in those? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that oregano was illegal in so much of the country. Just kidding. It's legal in most states, I think. I think it's illegal federally. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, I want to... Oh, man, I can't wait to get back to studying. Well, I've been studying. I can't wait to get back into class. Just that's what I'm so there for. Like capstone projects. I want projects again. I love projects. I've been studying. Hey, I love projects. This could be the perfect place to segue, but guess what? It's only been 13 minutes, and most of that was waiting for the stream to start, so only back to like 6 or 7 minutes. I said 6, 7. But I'm not gonna segue because I like talking for longer. You hated your topic, but you eventually found a good textbook that made it make sense, and now it's growing on me. What's your topic? I'm curious. Since you're getting a math degree, and you're, I want to say, pure math, so yeah, I'm very curious what it'll be, if I would even understand it. Pure math is a different beast. You like to party, but you never got to a typical party college lifestyle. Yeah, I never went to any parties or gatherings at college. The closest that I did was study groups. I had study groups with my cohort. Does that count as partying? I don't think it counts as partying, but it's what I did. And you know what? I had way more fun than I would have ever had going to parties. Because again, I don't really like to drink. And if I'm listening to music, I want it to be in headphones on my head. I want to be curled up in a ball. I want to be hugging a little plush. I want to be going and rocking back and forth. Some might call that based. I call it depression. That's a line from my new video, which should be coming out soon if I manage to finish editing. Dude, editing takes so long if you have to do like ridiculous stuff. Exactly, Mew. 676767. That reminds me, Mew, I actually caught your stream. I was like in and out of your stream, and I'm sorry I didn't say anything. I was watching on YouTube while I was studying, and so I was like, I didn't want to like distract myself from like talking at you because I know I would get sucked into a conversation, but I did enjoy the parts that I was like mentally there for, because like I said, I was open and it was slipping. I was slipping in and out. Study groups was more popular than you. Study groups are beautiful. How I actually got them, funny enough, was somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, just someone who was in a bunch of my classes, he was in like 4 out of 5 of my classes, was like, hey, do you want to get together to study? And I was like, you know what, sure. Just a guy I barely talked to. Funny enough, his name, Zach. And guess what? That's not enough information to dox anything, and the coincidence with that being the interdimensional being that lives inside my head is maybe he was never real. But I digress. Morse theory, and it's basically about studying to topological properties of manifolds using functions. Ew. Let's Google. I feel like you've mentioned this before and I just don't remember. Morse theory. Morse theory enables one to analyze the topology of a manifold by studying differentiable functions on that manifold. That's basically exactly what you just said. This is cool. I'm curious what the textbook you got on it was. I gotta mess with topologies more. I never got to go in depth on analysis the way I would have liked to, which is a shame. Hey, they're talking about the Taurus. There's one of those right behind us. There's one of us right behind this. But yeah. I actually have an interesting textbook or two on topological spaces that I really need to read. I save so many textbooks. It's like how I save so many papers and then I never remember to read any of them. Sounds similar to differential geometry. I also have a book on differential geometry that I need to read. Do you mean Milnor? Morse Theory by John Milnor, yeah. Foundational text in differential topology that explains how to understand the large-scale structure of a space by studying its real-value functions connecting to applications in physics and dynamical systems. Ooh. Ew. Ew. That sounds pretty cool. What year was this written? 1963. And it's got a 4.8 out of 5 on Rotten Reads. Sorry. Tomato Reads. Sorry. Language Tomatoes. Sorry. Rotten to Language. Sorry. Good Tomatoes. Okay. You're a big Taurus guy. Like the Pokemon? It has applications. You don't have to read the... You should know by this stage in your education that you don't have to read everything in a textbook. Just read the parts on theory, and then you can pretend the parts on applications don't exist. Okay? Okay. We good? Capiche? Capiche? Capuche. Oh. I feel like that's a fair compromise. That's a fair compromise. You read the parts you have to read, and you don't read anything else. Hydration break. The thing about reading all of it, though, is that you often get exposed to stuff that you weren't expecting for before, and then you get to learn about new different topics and different applications that you may not have expected. Here, I'll make you a deal, Jay. If you send me the PDF to that book, I'll go ahead and I'll read the applications part, you just read the theory part, and then we don't have to interact with each other ever again. I'm kidding. You'll wait for the movie of topology. You didn't read the book? Yeah, the book's okay. I personally really like the graphic novel. There's a lot. I feel like the graphic novel is okay, and the story in general has a lot of ups and downs. And I feel like you could rearrange it in a lot of different ways, and you'd still get the same information. But that's just me. To push you onto a train track, you'd be doing us both a favor. What song is this? Weinzelman DSO2 do us to. I never played Divinity Original Sin. Yeah. I do like this song though. It's pretty. It's really funny. This music does not really fit the setting, but it's what I saw and I was like, I want to listen to this. Is the manga adaptation any good? It's okay. Like I said, like you can only make a topology so interesting, but the nice thing about manga panels is that you can show it from a lot of different perspectives, and then you can kind of run with it there. I felt like the author was projecting a lot of their personal feelings, and like I feel like it would have done a lot of benefit to have a few more like maps, so that I could understand how they were getting from you know, space A to space B, space X to space Y. So I feel like a few more clear maps would have been a bit more obvious or a bit more helpful, so that we could obviously see how they're traveling. Because it definitely wasn't linear. It was I would say it was honestly complex. Like we had to focus on like the realism, but I feel like the complex components kind of threw off their whole pathing. And again, so a clear definition of the maps would have really made the manga adaptation a lot better of topology. Did you get to the part where they turn a donut into a coffee cup? Yeah, it's like chapter 1. How long can I ramble with just dumb math parallels? I'm beginning to think this entire channel is nonsense. Beginning to think my whole hobby here is kind of a bizarre joke. Excuse me. Let me think. So today we are going to be playing one of my favorite games of all time. It's called VS Code. And it runs on, specifically we're going to be running the subroutine known as Python. And with that, I figure I want to start designing a fun little thing, an imaging project, as it were. Why, you may ask? Well, because the best way that I find to refresh myself and to learn, and I can pretend that the capstone project conversation from earlier is happening now. You want to do a funny bit where you combine as many math operator symbols into one mega equation? I believe it. I mean, we could just write one really big axiom, and then just take it from there. Can't be a joke because you're not funny. I can be the punchline though. Listen, you have no idea how hard it is to make a math video that's visually engaging. Like I have it on my Twitter, so I guess I can show it off. Hold on a minute. It is so difficult to make a math video that is engaging, and Mew can attest to this. So let me. It's surely brewing. Like, this is what's on my Twitter right now. Because so this was meant to go live. This goes live on my YouTube this evening. But it already exists. This is a 2-second teaser of how I'm trying to make math engaging. A brawl is surely brewing. You're up. Now go. And then the actual thing goes on from there. But it's not easy. I can tell you that. It is not easy. You guys can see my Twitter. It's not a lot going on. Use Manim and call it a day. It can be better than that. Yeah, exactly. Like I have Manim stuff in my video that I'm making. You don't even know how to use it. It's been an interesting learning curve. I've been really enjoying learning how to use it. But it has something that irritates me in a lot of, like, having to specify stuff like locations really annoys me. Like having to specify if I want something to be like, actually, where am I? Let me show it off. Like, look at this. Like, something like this annoys me, where I essentially have to write to specific areas, and that annoys the heck out of me. 1 second. Because I have really bad visualization, or I have really bad artistic. The only thing close to it is acoustic. But so then if I have to like specify where I want it, I'm like specifying locations and whatnot, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It is not enjoyable for me. Let's see, and like having to generate a bunch of random dots, do that crap. It can be tedious. Is my point. But, hold on, I need to create a new folder. I need to create a new folder. Get a similar issue learning Tiki and LaTeX. What's Tiki? That is one thing, though, is that in LaTeX, that always does mess with me. The kind of particular positioning stuff. It's one of the reasons why, when I made that presentation, I didn't use a beamer. I used I didn't do a beamer thing in LaTeX. Instead, I did I just did PowerPoint, just because handling all those particulars is easier, and I really should do LaTeX because it's fun, and, you know, LaTeX linguist, so I gotta do more of it, but... Man, I'm included. You didn't get it working on your system? Have you tried just stealing other people's raw data? I've tried, but unfortunately, they keep catching me. Doing an OpenGL stream soon, but like any code stuff, you have to install things properly, and you're always bad at that. True. Trying to add stuff to the path correctly. Always a pain. Always a wonderful pain. Always a wonderful. Text figure generating library, and so instead of importing RG, you specify commands to draw images. Ooh, okay. I feel like that could be fun. But again, it's one of those things where you have to be specific, and I'm like, it's tough because so much stuff has conversion abilities. I can move from one thing seamlessly to the next, often in a way where it doesn't require me to use something like LaTeX to make a presentation. So it's hard for me to justify the necessity behind it. If I can use something like Inkscape, then why should I use something like LaTeX to make these images? And the nice thing is I can't draw a straight line to save my life. Trust me, I've tried. There's nothing straight about me. Except for, you know, having a female partner. I don't know, man. Whatever. And so the joke didn't land. The point is that one of the benefits is that it can generate things really cleanly in ways that I definitely can't. For example, I generated a distribution in Manim that looks cleaner than if I had, say, made it in a matplotlib, and then in like a pyplot, and then just like exported it. It's cleaner to generate the thing in Manim and then be like, oh, look how pretty that looks. Apparently stealing stuff is popular with academia. You found out Cantor stole Dedekind's proof of infinities, and Cantor got ghosted not only to us of the Big Boy Math Club. I have something funny. I actually was there in stream when you were talking about that. I remember that, and it reminded me of something that I don't know where it is, but it's a very funny it's a very, very funny series of, it was grad students at MIT made fake GRE questions, and it was about someone stealing someone else's, what was it? It was like someone proved something, and then someone, yeah, a few years later, someone proved a larger version of it. Show that the first person deserves no credit for this proof. It was very dumb. Okay, so I want to create a new folder. Actually, what's in here? What's in this folder? Is there anything in this folder? There is something in this folder. Oh, it's Skittles. Pictures of Skittles. Hold on while I name stuff. Right, let's see. VTubing imaging project is what we will call it, because I am lazy. Perfect. All right, so now I can finally show you guys again. Boom. Just kidding. It doesn't like it. Oh, because it was technically a different window. Cool. All right. I don't know why I bothered opening this, because if today we're designing our project, then it's actually going to happen on digital pencil and paper. And digital pencil and paper is fancy talk for an iPad. My iPad is like the perfect size. I love it so much. It's like such a wonderful, not crazy big. Could I use a bigger one? Probably. I feel like I could benefit from a larger iPad, but let's predator and prey models. Let's biomath. There we go. All right. So if we want to actually handle anything about this project, we have to design this project. Step one to anything. And something that I have learned in working in any amount of computer science is that to design something in computer science, you don't actually use this. You don't use VS Code. The fact that this lines up so well in this window, I feel very proud of that. That had to be done manually, and that was a pain, but I'm not actually going to design it in VSC, because that would make no sense. That would be bizarre. It would fit things too perfectly, and if there's one thing I know about me, is that I don't fit in with anyone. I was born to be kicked out of society. Let me activate my air screen mirroring, and then I will pass that after it stops displaying my IP address, because that is what it's actively doing. Loading. Okay, cool. So then we're gonna shift over. We played the game of, does this actually load? Drum roll, please. Oh, nope, doesn't. Doing this in Notepad. We're doing this in a fun Notepad. Hello? Hello? There we go. There we go. Fun Notepad. Not your boring typical Notepad, but an imaginary piece of paper. This piece of paper has been through it with me, through thick and thin. Mainly thin, because paper isn't that thick. Unless they make a paper VTuber. Note to self. I like VTubers. Okay, so Audio Studio Code, exactly. That's actually called Audacity. Don't tell anyone, but I've had to do audio mixing stuff in DaVinci, and it's a pain. It's not great, but it's something. You know of one actually? What, a paper VTuber? Is it like Mario Paper Mario or whatever, where they're like 2D? Just kidding. We're all 2D. We're all anime people. Don't tell anyone. We don't actually exist. If I did a face reveal, it would just be a camera, because the camera would see nothing but a processing unit. I was born on the computer systems, and I will die on the computer systems. Just like my many forebears before me. Or after me. Just kidding. There will be none after me. You know why? Because I have no plans to ever have children. My bloodline will die with me. That's not actually true. There's a good chance. I used to think that our family's bloodline would end at this generation. But recently, I don't think that's the case. Not for me. I'm never having kids. I'm confident on that. You know why? Because I have confidence that I could never care for someone. Like, I could never care for a small human. And plus, okay, this is gonna be, okay, as an aside, this is gonna be bad out of context, so please understand, this is from a purely, scientific existence that I have. If I had a child, I would have to fight the urge to actively teach them incorrectly. I would have to fight the urge to engage in social experiments by raising my child incorrectly. Like, imagine having like 5 different kids and separating them from one another as test groups, and then you raise each one with completely different variables. Then you have, you have some controls and whatnot, like they get to eat. But maybe that one doesn't get to sleep. That one only gets to sleep 5 hours. That one gets to sleep as much as they want. But you raise them with these variables. I guess that one wouldn't be social unless you can find a way to control their circadian rhythm, in which case it could be social. So that's a fun little experiment for a different day. But my point is, if I had a bunch of children, I would use them as test subject. I would create fun little experiments. And then I would like teach them numbers incorrectly. I would teach them math incorrectly. I would teach them colors incorrectly. I would be like, hey, this is green. Guess what? It would be purple. And I would call it yellow. To each their own. You're having kids and you'll teach them how to do things like rocket science or League of Legends. Oh no. Oh no. The League of Legends should die with our generation. It should continue only on in video form of Arcane Season 7. But no, so I figured my bloodline would die with my siblings and I. However, like my sister has a stepkid. But I'm like, yeah. And the thing is, my partner also does not want any children. So that works out great. Thumbs up. You guys can't see my hands because I'm 2D, but thumbs up. Anyways, so I figured it would end there. However, my brother is like head over heels for his new girlfriend, and so I'm like, there's a good chance they'll have kids. In which case that would make me an uncle. But I guess I already kind of am an uncle, but not really. Like, I don't see myself as an uncle to my sister's stepkid. So I'm like, I don't know. The point is, it'll be cool, they'll be gamers and be very popular. Those two phrases do not line up with one another, except on the internet space. They'll be cool if you teach them... like normie games. Ugh, neck cracked. Alright, so we've been driving around this for a while, but I feel like it's time to stop doing donuts and to stop swerving and timely just crash into the point I'm trying to make. And that point is that we need to design something. But what are we actually designing? Who knows? Let's go ahead and write out the name of what I want this project to be. Well, not the name, but the general idea. An imaging project. And this imaging project, we want it to do a few different things. And so it's not going to be imaging in a practical sense, because Lord knows I would never do anything in a practical sense. I'm not a very practical person. In fact, I practice non-practicality. So instead, we want it to be an image analysis thing. Not like a image converter or something. No, I want it to be specifically an image analysis project. So we're gonna write that under here, image analysis. And yes, now it's important to mention that this is not being made because it's intuitive. This is not being a project because it's something groundbreaking or new, and this is definitely not being a project to show off my amazing handwriting. My handwriting's terrible, you can all see that. Wow, I'm going like 1,000,000 miles a minute. Does anybody else notice that? I'm failing it. Turns out when you get well rested and then drink caffeine, life's pretty good. But the image processing stuff isn't meant to necessarily be something. So I'm gonna write here, not groundbreaking. Not groundbreaking. So the thing is, this is my note-taking. Well, so I sometimes do have nice handwriting. Look at this. That looks relatively nice, I think. Like, a new group infected, but like not infected. Like, okay, that doesn't look great, but it could be worse. Does that actually work when I switch? It does, except it like seizures at you. But it's not meant to be groundbreaking or or new. It's just meant to be a personal project for personal training. So, it's a personal practice kind of project. It's like people making video games. For example, there's a VTuber I like to watch every so often that was introduced to me by Jay in our chat, named Newt Mechanist, and I don't know their pronouns, but they are working on like a Vampire Survivors sort of game, as I understand it. Vampire Survivors exist. However, it's about personal working project. That's the important thing. You don't always have to make the freshest new thing. You don't always have to be the freshest innovation. That's actually something that gets me about VTubing and content creation in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's wholly originally new, because nothing is wholly originally new. Everything's expired by solving a problem or working on previous iterations. Or it can just be for your personal self. Do other math VTubers exist? Clearly, Mew is in the chat. But I exist because I want to exist, kind of thing. And that's why we all exist. But yes, for fun. Now, what we want to do from here is we want to say we want to look at this kind of like components of, and you guys can actually see how my note taking works. It's gonna be very goofy. So because I'm drawing a line, so we're gonna say how close is any image to Hatsune Miku? That's awesome. So this is I'm gonna say from a math-based perspective. So we get to do a bunch of different things. We get to do some like linear algebra. We get to do stuff like denoising. We get to look at stuff like texture. Which, if you don't know, texture can be found in a pretty interesting way. Texture, I'm gonna do this in different colors on the side, so it's gonna be in blue. Texture can actually be found using something called a gray level co-occurrence matrix, or GLCM, which is essentially a two-dimensional histogram of co-occurring pixel intensities. I can spell. Intensities? I don't know. I can't really spell. It's covered up by most of it. But, so that's one way to find texture. Pretty cool. I'm pretty well versed actually in that. It's fun. You can do a lot of different things with it, but a GLCM, because like I said, I'm versed in it, I want to include it, so it's probably going to be in this, because finding texture is fun, something I've done before. And I want to show off my skills. But also working with something you understand is a great way to add on to stuff you don't. Now, so if we're looking at this kind of stuff from a math-based perspective, then there is obviously a level of, we can get like identification. Okay. And grouping and whatnot. Which means that we're gonna need some sort of, I did that arrow backwards, like machine learning stuff built in. Inevitably. An important porpoise to me is that porpoises came first, the chicken or the egg. A porpoise to me is that it is not a black box method. Why? Because I want it to be replicatable, and applicable, and what's the other word? Replicatable, applicable, and credible, and readable, and edible. And based off where I live, the edibles is going to be easy to get. But I want it to be a not black box method because I want it to be, I want to know the inner workings. So that's important to me. That will always be important to me. That's kind of the reason I don't really care for a lot of AI models and like LLMs, is because I want to know the ins and outs of how they work. But if that's the case, so we know a few things. We need a math-based image analysis, we need identification, we need grouping. We're going to need to be tackling all this stuff. This stuff I am interested in doing with something like maybe a C library. So maybe something like Python. Or other sort of like fast lower level computational methods. Lower level computational, so I'm just gonna write comp languages, which I'll be forced to learn the ins and outs of in order to do it. You can see how my handwriting is falling apart, and I am absolutely going to not be able to read what I wrote later, but that's fine. Oh, what did I just do? If I were to write better, let's try this one minute. All right. I also wrote. I keep writing these arrows backwards. I don't know why. But I want to be. That's not going to be a short, but I am going to laugh at it. I'm still going to clip it and probably post it on my Discord because it made me laugh. No, it's not. It's not going to the Discord. Discord's all ages. But anyways, I want to approach this from, like I said, high computational speed. So we want something that's going to be working at high speeds. Mainly because this kind of stuff can get really oh wait, I have a laser pointer for this. This kind of stuff can get really computationally intensive, especially when on larger scales. And guess what? One of the things that's going to happen is when you come here, you're going to have to... So if you take an image, you're going to have to break it down into a bunch of little areas. And then those areas, you're going to have to then compute individually and then concatenate it into one big matrix. So guess what? It gets a lot. It gets a lot. So, jumping off of that, we have these kind of pieces we want to work with. The other thing we want to do, the other thing is I'd like it personally, to maybe, this is just maybe, so I'm gonna actually write it in different color for maybe. I'm gonna write it in red. As an application, maybe? It doesn't necessarily have to be a terminal thing, it could be as an application. But I realize, turn into a local app. Namely, something that it's convenient enough where I can upload stuff to it, perform analyses, and then pull out that information. Or it could be a library. I don't know. It could be either or. A library. It could be either or. Doesn't really matter to me. The specifics are nebulous. That's kind of a later thing. So this is a kind of like later low prio to figure out. That doesn't have to be a first priority. The main priority is going to be stuff around the image analysis itself. But how can we build on that? Yay, spelling. I think I... So the other thing I want to do... So let's see, how else can I build on this? So I wanted to perform math-based image analysis. I wanted to do some sort of like identification. I want to do some sort of grouping. I want it to maybe be an application, maybe a library. I want to implement some lower level language stuff so that I can run it at higher speed so that it's not wasting time, it's not wasting space. What else do I want to add to this? I don't know. I've just kind of been throwing out stuff as I do, like as I think about it. It's hitting my brain is hitting the back of my throat, the back of my throat is vomiting up the words, and the words are what you hear. Hydration break. So, I just thought I say hydration break after I take the hydration break. Instead of preemptively telling you that there will be a hydration break. Because what if you tune in and I'm suddenly silent for 3.7 seconds? You'll panic. You won't know what to do. You'll start freaking out, and then eventually you'll go, oh my god, what if he/they is dead? Trick question though, you see me moving, so I'm probably not dead. However, I do have a breathing toggle, so if I go still, you'll just see me go. But I digress. So, what do I need to add to this? What else do I want to add? Prop horses? I don't have any regular horses either. And I definitely don't have enough money to reach out to the props department. But if you mean properties... Well, the thing is... I also want to... And so even some of these are kind of large topics where I'm saying like, oh, just, you know, attacking denoising or linear algebra or texture or whatnot. But we can attack more than that. What else can we attack? I don't know all the imaging properties that are out there. There's tons of different stuff, and there's tons of different ways we could do stuff. Like, what else could we work with? Like, I'm also let me erase that little lin alg, denoising, and texture. Okay. What else could we addendum. I forgot who. I was gonna tell Mew. This reminded me. I don't know why it reminded me. Oh, because I said duh. Anyways, I was gonna tell people at work, and then I forgot to. Your Eigensheep joke, and I forgot to do it, because it's good. And I know that my boss would have gone, ugh. Here's a different terrible joke for you. For example, how many commutative groups are there? There's a billion of them. Anyways, I'll see myself out. But one of the other things we have to look at... Oh, right. This was a smaller piece. But one of the things we have to look at is image conversion. Image conversion. Because images come in tons of different shapes and sizes. Images come in tons of different shapes and sizes. Like what? Well, we're gonna put a star here because we're not actually gonna do that here. We're gonna erase this whole little line I wrote here and we're gonna write it down there. You can't see where I'm pointing, but down is down. Image conversion. Handwriting's always hard. You got that. Thank you. I'm trying my best. Very funny. I don't think J, I feel like that was a disingenuous, but there's tons of different imaging types, you know. You have your PNGs, you have your JPEGs, you have your SVGs. The thing is, JPEG doesn't really fit. But anyways, these two are scalable. So like you have your vector-based stuff. Why'd I write the period after that one? A PNG and SVG, you have kind of like these scalable things. You also have stuff that's like medical imaging. You have like DICOM files, which is not medical imaging, but you also have like what are H&E images? What are H&E images? PDF or not? You do have PDFs. That's technically a imaging format. What is does anyone remember what H&E images are in? Because I don't remember what H&E images are in. One over here is like TIFF files. Technically you have like GIFs. Which I guess technically you could do some sort of like animation on the image. That could be interesting. Again, if I can know how to spell. What are H&E images? Let me look this up, because I don't remember. What format are H and E images in? SVS, that's what it is. SVS is a medical imaging file. So then oh man, I have to, this happens if I tab out, I have to reload. Since I'm not using a Mac for streaming, I'm using Windows for streaming. It means that anytime I try to tab out of stuff, I'm using a not great, what's the word? Not great receiver. So I'm like screen sharing from my iPad to an off-brand thing, that like a third-party capture thing that then I'm capturing. But yeah. So what happens, what examples do you want it to analyze? A waffle image? We can have it analyze a ton of images, and that's the thing, is I also want to, you know, but so it's like I want it to be able to be diverse. I want it to be able to take in multiple types of images, a ton of different types of images of different variances, and be able to extract features from them. From those features, I want it to be able to do something, such as grouping, conversion. That's what, with SVS files, so these are cool about SVS files. SVS files, like specifically H&E images and stuff, have levels of quality. And they're really cool because you actually need, they're huge. They're huge files. They're big files. And you end up basically being able to say that if you have one giant file here, that's at level 0. I'm drawing this upside down, but I don't care. Level 0, and then if we were to look at, like, and then we end up compressing this down to a level 1, and then we compress it down even more to a level 2, where you lose detail each time. And that's because when you have these really big level 0s thing, if you go ahead and look at something in like medical image viewers, you can zoom in like crazy and still get detail. Still fully detailed. That's what's cool about it. So I want to be able to take advantage of that. I want to be able to take advantage of something that can change levels like that, so it has to be able to access these different versions of it. Finally, I want it, after it's performed these different analyses, we, as a third party, say researcher or something, could go ahead and... Who's fighting in the Baldur's Gate music? Don't kill each other, please. I want it to be able to look at these third party things, or I want it to be able to be a kind of like a third party tool. You read your image, you can perform different analyses, and then as a researcher, I'm able to say, okay, based off these different results that I have accessed, I am now able to extract this data for machine learning stuff, or some sort of analysis. But yeah, you got a dip. All right, Mew, thanks for stopping by. Catch you later, Poisson varies. I try my best, but I actually remain invariant, rotationally so. Hey Shane, how's it going? I hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing well. I like I said previously, or earlier today, I disappeared for like a week. Sorry about that. I had a busy week and I was getting my car fixed. I was like exhausted, and then I was like, you know what, we'll just go ahead and take this week off so that next week can come back full force and hit it where it hurts. And you know where it hurts? Everywhere. But not anymore, because I took the week off. Hydration break. You know what? I'm gonna do another one. Alright. Let's rock. So, we got a good idea of, and we can add to this, but this is a basic idea of what we'd want it to do. These kinds of different things. Like I said, doesn't have to be groundbreaking, and we can address the accessing it through like applications or as a library later. That can be something down the line. For now, we want to focus on the more in-depth details, where we're gonna go ahead and grab some sample images, and we're gonna say, what can these sample images have done to them? The important part is that I'm gonna need sample images of tons of different types. And we're gonna have to go ahead and look at the different libraries that are available for this. So the fun part about this is that it's not gonna be like, oh, I can just import stuff to do whatever, because certain libraries can read certain things. For example, the pill library can only read certain types of images. It's not gonna read SVS files at all, because those SVS files have libraries, or levels. So, on top of that, we're gonna have to go ahead and read into, basically, we're gonna have to do personal research and figure out which libraries can access what. And when we read in, how can we efficiently handle them? So, and with that, we're gonna have to think about what are all the different image types we can work with. And this is where it will get crazy. We're gonna have so many different caveats, so many different ups and downs to work with, and we're gonna have to attack everything from a different angle. That's gonna be fun. So, our first level, our entry level, will be uploading an image. We grab that image, then we have to determine what type of image do we have. And granted, this will not be the most efficient thing, but we want to optimize as we go. Hence any project. And that's where the stuff like the working in a lower level language is going to be really important. We want to use pre-made libraries as much as possible. In some cases. So in some cases, I want to just use pre-made libraries. In other cases, for the like more mathematical stuff, I want to do it from scratch. Because the whole point of programming it is to learn something, to build on it. Yeah. But yeah, we're learning something, more or less. I'm kind of just like throwing darts at the board and trying to think of, trying to think of a. You gotta go to, just got here. You ordered a bunch of MREs for some reason. You gotta go. All right, thanks for stopping by, Shane. I'm glad you could stop by to say hi, though. All right. Strig bitch. Okay. Let's hop over now. And we want to start taking some sort of notes. Excuse me. We're gonna go ahead and stop screen sharing that. We're gonna hop into VS Code again. And we're gonna go ahead and just create like I guess as a Jupyter notebook. New file. We're gonna want to create a new environment for this, because we're gonna want to have, like, I could in theory use previous environments, but I wanna create a new environment for this specifically. So I like setting apart the different things where it's like, oh, I have one that I dedicate for like general streaming stuff, but I wanna have one that I can dedicate specifically to this. So we're gonna head and make a notebook, select a kernel, Python environments, and we're gonna create a Python environment. Python version, yep, it's good. So it's gonna go ahead and create an easy one for us. I'm actually, now that I'm gonna kind of like lock in a little bit, I'm going to lower my desk, which means that I will have to sit down for a moment while it creates this environment. So enjoy the music. Alright, that's all lowered. Mic has been readjusted. How you doing, fellow kids? Why is it taking so long to create this? Well, I guess it's kind of set up. I feel like it normally doesn't take this long, but I guess when it's setting up the default, it has a little bit more to set up. Normally, I just like pip install as I need it. Pip install, not to be confused with one pipkin pippa. This connect's interesting. What is he doing? Move the 205. Okay. My brother is coming home earlier than expected, and he is gonna want to watch Dune 2. Which means at like 3, I will have to leave and then be trapped watching a 3-hour movie that I don't really care about. I don't mean any harm. It's just, it's not really my shtick. How long is this going to take? What's it actually? Can I see what it's installing? Oh. 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 314. Is that what the latest Python is 314? I thought it was 313. It's one of those things that gets updated frequently enough that I never really bother to mess with it too much. Like, I've been using 312 for like the past year, and then I saw that my friend was, there we go. Okay, that's all. I saw that my friend was using 313, but I guess we're at 314 now. Let's hope that this doesn't cause any dependency issues. And if it does, well, we'll just have to see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we burn it now, won't we? I want a new keyboard. I always want a new keyboard, though. All right. So the first thing we want to, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of rewrite everything that I wrote previously. Because, oh, that's in Python. Whoops. Excuse me. It's supposed to be Markdown. Who's aggressively snoring? Imaging. Project. Let me just write down a few notes for this. Image analysis. Slash converter, I guess. The converter is less of a big deal, but it'll be fun to do that anyways. Can you are you grabbing chips or anything on your way home? Delay my brother so that I don't have to watch Dune 2 as soon. And this is gonna be project roadmap. All right. Markdown. There we go. So this doesn't have to be groundbreaking or new, like I said. A personal project, and I can write the you know what? I'll just do it now. How do I make it sound professional? Because this is all just kind of like setup stuff. The following project is not meant to be groundbreaking or anything revolutionary. More so, it is a personal project for fun and implementing programming skills, math, and programming skills. The main function is to intake images of any image type and perform mathematical analysis on them. On them, yeah. Doing so, these analyses will then be exported to be utilized in machine learning, or any other operation. This project may include some machine... Why did I capitalize machine learning there? Interesting. Some machine learning itself for grouping methods and classification. Specification, but this is not a primary priority. Additionally, mathematical analyses will be performed in lower level languages. Using so there's certain things I won't avoid. Like, I won't avoid using NumPy for certain operations, but I like to avoid using stuff like I like how the mathematical the math implementations, that's the word, I want to do myself. So using a few built-in math libraries, with the exception of NumPy, pandas, and maybe a few others for more basic matrix operations. So that allows us to be a bit more freeform when it comes to that allows us to you know, play with our food a bit, but it doesn't let us be reliant on certain things. So general matrix operations are gonna work well, but yeah. Sorry, I immediately forgot. Yeah, more complex stuff I will do myself. Basic matrix operations I am fine with relying on other libraries for. All right. So that's kind of most of the gist. So I'm gonna kind of keep this here for now, and this will kind of be the basics of our roadmap. This is gonna be what we can fall back on to be like, okay, what do we want to do, or we can add to this, we can mess with it. But I'm gonna keep it as a Jupyter notebook so that I can throw examples in there if need be, and I can really mess with it as I want. The next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna tackle just some very basic stuff. we're gonna tackle some very basic stuff. We're going to do a new file. Actually, this we're gonna do a new file here, and I am also gonna do another Jupyter notebook. You may ask why. Well, that's because I want to be able to test out my different little pieces as I do it. String batch. Let's go ahead and look. So, well, first off, that's the other thing I wanted to tackle, was I wanted to get a list of image file types. Right, so there are no image file types ever. No, so let's get a list of image file types. There's a lot, and that's going to be the tough part. Like, there's some, all the common ones, but I want to be able to tackle some other ones as well. Let's see. I also want to change up the music. I'm getting bored of the Baldur's Gate stuff. Not bored per se, but I'm like, I wanna vibe it up a bit. Make your own file format. You're absolutely, you know what? We're gonna include that. Our first, we're making a .poi file. that is gonna be one of the file types. Everything's gonna be converted. Everything's gonna be able to be exported as a .poi file type. That's completely useless anywhere. And it is, of course, gonna be vector based. It's gonna be so dumb. Okay, so what was I doing? I already forgot what I was doing. Right, first I was looking for different music to work with. You know, this is fun. We're gonna do some Final Fantasy XIV stuff. So, of course, the infamous .poi file type we'll use. Then we have to look at a few different things. This is actually a great... Oh, I actually really like this. Hold on a minute. Let me steal this from Wikipedia real quick. By steal from Wikipedia, I use the patented screen capture format. Let me see. I want to go ahead and save this in a place. Let me go ahead. Save image, and then we're going to import it into the notebook. I already forgot where I stored this notebook. Where are we? B-tubing imaging project. Right. Common file types. Ta-da! Now, it exists right here. We have our common file types. So this is a bunch of stuff. We have these capture file types, camera stuff, GIMP files, Photoshop files, PSDs. We have kind of like the stuff that borders it. We have TIFF files, JPEGs, PNGs going. These are raster files. And then we have vector files. Vector files are so these are things that will, as I understand it. How do I understand it? These top two I'm less familiar with. These top two quadrants. The vector files is pretty simple. They're files that are scalable. I can make them bigger, I can make them smaller, I can do whatever I want with them. And they go ahead and they are editable, but they're also very large. So these are like the ideal files we can work with. Versus raster files, which are significantly smaller, they're compressed, and they're not scalable. So, now these are for sure not the file types, because as I previously mentioned, there's stuff like SVS files. SVS files are medical imaging files that are not included in this list. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna start writing out some file types. But I do like this. I was gonna add that image, but I decided against it. All right. But PNG, I'm not gonna do that. PNG, you know, JPEG, P, GIF. I'm just kind of gonna go in order here. FF. I feel like some of these should be capitalized, but I never remember which one should. Fine. TIFF files. Alright, so these are all I guess I should separate them. The POI file is of course vector based. It is special. There's gonna be raster. And then down here we're gonna have what are these called? Authoring files types. Oops. Down here we're gonna have vector based. Actually, I want the vector based next to the rasters. And the other thing would capture. Okay. So we have our TIFF files, we have our BMP files. What is BMP files actually? I should write notes on some of these that I don't know. So Windows bitmap. Oh, it's raster based. What else sort of authoring? Uncompressed, therefore large and lossless. Oh, okay. Net PBM format is a family including the portable pixie map file PPM, the portable gray map file PGM, and the portable bitmap file PBM. These are either pure SIE files or raw binary files. Oh. PNM, portable any maps. Okay. That's cool. I guess I should write in parentheses for myself. These are PPMs, PGMs, PBM. Yeah, those are all considered that. Wait, what? You zoned out for a moment. What's about a file format exclusive? What? What are you reading? What are you mean TIFFs? A TIFF file? Is that what you mean? Alright, then we have raster graphic editors, which cover a lot of stuff. Let's see. Or no, that's not raster. This is the authoring files here are technically also raster files. So I'm actually gonna put that all under raster. Sorry. There we go. And then just vector. Titan. Titan. I feel like that's a comment on your brain more than anything. All right. So we have a PPG. We have deep. We have PRW, which is a drawn file. We have ECW, like the wrestler. Okay. Flexible image. We have fits. That's close to what you. Oh my god, there's so many. Oh, but some of these are actually obsolete now. That's good to know. BMP and or PNG, so I won't bother with that. JPEG. .img, that's funny. There's straight up an image, file image. Oops, that's what I'm gonna do. JPEG, nearly raw raster data. That's part of the NetBM file. That's obsolete. Aggressive graphic files. Okay. PGF. I know, trying to find stuff that's actually Silicon Graphics Workstation, so SGI. Oops. I keep hitting Alt. I keep hitting Alt S instead of Control S because I'm used to working on my MacBook recently. Sorry, I will get back. Let me just read something real quick. Important message. Okay, so Silicon Graphics run to obsolete. SID. God, there's so many. Like the slot. Where am I? I was in Discord. Here we go. Sunraster is obsolete. TJ is obsolete. Vicar. Ooh. NASA has their own file type. I didn't know this. NASA file type. That's cool. I didn't know that. And then XIS. Where's the one that was for? Oh, I completely missed a bunch up here. Where did I miss that? EPG. Other ones, PSDs. Clip. Yeah, for like Clip Studio Paint. Paladin. PSD I already put in there. The PlayStation Portable. And XCF, which is a native GIMP format. Okay, there we go. So we have a fun little list, and these are just our raster type ones. We now have to move on to vector type ones. Hooray! Let's go ahead. and do some more music. This time I won't select something that's 10 minutes long. It'll select a sufficiently lengthed song or mix. You know, Borderlands 2 ambience. Let's go. Now, back at our imaging file formats. Our vector files. Oh my god, there's a lot. Oh my god. There's so many vector file types. A lot of 3D vector file types. I don't know if we'll be able to tackle those, so I think I'll let the 3D file types stay on their own for now, and we're just going to focus on 2D vector types. Okay, so we have, of course, we have SVG files. We have the Gerber. I didn't even know there was a thing. The Gerber files. Sounds made up. We have the CGM files. What are CGM? Computer Graphics Meta File is a file format for 2D vector graphics raster reference text defined by ISO. Cool. Can be compiled into a binary file of 1 or 2 text representations. Interesting. It's not really used because of stuff like SVG, which I guess just functions better. But if there's one thing I know about working in research, is that half the time you get data that is in file types that is now obsolete but has not been updated. And so you have to work around that, and that is a pain in the ass. I mean, I swear, pain in the pain in the asterisk. So yeah. Gerber, like the people that make baby food. Do they make baby food? I don't actually know. I know a guy who, one of the nicknames for him we use is Gerber. Does that count? Evil Gorble Garbs. All right, let's start getting through all these 2D vector formats. We have AF design files. We have AI, which are Adobe Illustrator files. We have CDR files. A native vector graphic format. Got by Acorn in the mid-80s for the RIC OS computer system. I don't even know how that works, but cool. Something called a draw file. Drawing ML file. What's that used by? Oh, it's in a Office Open XML docs. A gem file, which I guess contains somewhere like metadata. Graphics layout engine for scripting engines. HPGL. Hewlett-Packard graphics language. Generalized into a printer language. Okay, so we have HPGL. We have LaTeX, which is for format animations. Hey Bear, how are you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Achieve MathML, which is a mathematical markup, an application of XML for describing math notations. You like the new skin? Thanks, I grew it myself. Nap, which is the oops. How do I spell that? Napoops. An open graphics document. Did I spell it? It's ODG. Oops. Open documents graphic. Percentage in markups, PGML. We're almost done with the 2D vector stuff. PS tricks and tick. Oh, okay. So this is ticks, which, like Jay had mentioned earlier, is for in tech documents for doing visualization. So I'm glad that we had actually talked about that earlier, so that it's in my mind. There is literally one for quilt management. That's cool. Probably not most useful in research, but actually could be useful in designing some interesting visualization with pattern recognition. You've been doing fine. How about you? I've been doing well. I took last week off of streaming, as you may have noticed. And honestly, I'm glad for that. I think I needed that. I think... Oh, excuse me. I think it helped me get my mind in order. It allowed me to do a lot of really good editing. It allowed me to prepare for a video I have coming up, and it allowed me to get a handle on a lot of stuff that is in the works, as well as get some studying done, which is always a benefit. So we have our raster files, we have our vector file. Oh, we're actually gonna make this one a little bit smaller. Whoop. Oh, we have our poi file. I don't know what the poi file is like, but I am going to have the poi file, and it is going to be vector based. You know, I could do one that's I could do a vector based one. I could also do like a raster based one. That would be funny. I don't know what the difference would be in the name, but I you imagine quilt files are popular with people who like sewing? I'd imagine so. I mean, it literally is for like a quilt creation software. Thanks for stopping by, Bear. I will have a good stream. Which is gracias. Okay, so this is a good project roadmap. Again, we have some stuff. We're gonna have to work with a lot of different stuff, and I don't know for sure all the things that get covered by each of these. I'm gonna have to go through and figure out which library in Python or whatnot can actually handle each of these. I don't know for sure, and I don't know how well the internet would know. Part of me wants to test it, but I think it would be better to just utilize the resources I have. And I died there for a minute. Am I back? It looks like I'm back. Interesting. Yeah, I died there for a second. But we're going to import NumPy, and like I said, we're on a new kernel, so we're going to have to reinstall basically all the libraries we want to use. From pill, import image, and then for any sort of like, short of like visualization, I'm also gonna plot as PLT. Okay, cool. So these don't actually exist yet, so we're gonna go ahead and make them exist. I should name that. I wish it didn't have that. I don't know. But yeah, let's go ahead and conda install. Is it pip install or conda install? I don't actually remember. Do you know like conda activate? I don't know if you want to do it differently for the conda ones. Okay, yeah, you just do it the same way. Okay, cool. Because it had specified a conda environment, I don't actually... Oops. No, conda install NumPy, pill, and matplot Let's just grab pandas while we're here. I don't need it right now, but I feel like I'll need it for the machine learning stuff. The machine learning stuff we are not going to do from scratch. Anything machine learning, we're just going to go ahead and pull from like scikit packages and other actual packages. The other one I look installing is CV2, because I'm pretty sure CV2 is another imaging library that can read that stuff well. And again, it's just a case of, you know, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I'm willing to reinvent the car, but I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Did it... It did not like that. From pill import image. Does pill no longer exist in... Okay. No module numpy. Okay, let me try pip install numpy. We'll probably want to grab Noomba as well, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that. Mainly because ignore the following versions. So numpy, wait. Oh, did pill get discontinued in newer? What's the new version then? 3.14. Did that get discontinued in 14? Maybe so. Different Python version. Requires Python. Oh, I did not know that. Okay. So then what's the Python 3.14 imaging library? Is there an official one yet? So I actually that would have been 3.12. Oh, well, or no, I guess 3.12. What's in 3.13 then? Moved in Python. So the imaging libraries you have to use is called Pillow now. The de facto is library Pillow, fork. Okay, so it's just under a different name now. Okay. Pillow. The other thing I want to do is open CV Python. And then we're gonna grab scikit. Image. And what the hell scikit learn to. Jumping the gun a little bit, but better to have it not need it than need it not have it, sort of thing. Nice. Grabbing all that. Make sure that is going into the correct folder, because I've had this happen before where it gets downloaded into the wrong folder, and that's always fun. I seem to remember Noomba being a library that was for like GPU focused stuff when it came to sort of like NumPy actions. like matrix operations, but primarily focused around GPU. So I'm curious how that plays on active NumPy. I'm wondering if NumPy now has more GPU operations, because Numba, if I remember, lost support in, I want to say, Python 3.9? Before my time, though. Before my programming time, that is. I was in fact alive, but I wasn't programming nothing. Or if I was, it was very briefly. I don't know when 3.9 came out. So let's double check something. I want to see. Make sure it's installing everything where it should be installed. Include. Oh. Remember where everything is. There's CV2, IPython stuff, Matplotlib, NumPy, Pill, scikit-learn, SciPy, image. Okay, sweet. So it did correctly put everything where it was supposed to be put. That's was the main worry. Did they change PyPlot too? Cannot be resolved. I wonder why that's Let's restart the kernel and then do it again. I've noticed this happens occasionally where it thinks something is not being resolved and then like that resolved just fine. So I have no idea. And then the thing we want to do kind of as a test, let's grab a test image and add it. We have a test image, it's here. It's called common file types. Running into some errors on my end, so we'll figure that out when we figure it out. It's the nature of this. Gun it as you run it as you gun it. Oh, and I went ahead to actually save this notebook. We're just gonna call this, testing. Image. Type testing. Or loading images. Image test. Okay. Reselect our little kernel here. Now, just as a reminder to myself, because I don't remember, it's been a while since I've had to just like flat load an image. We want to do like our path, we want to be ours, and then since we're already in here, it can be called common file types.png. And then we have image equals image.open path. And then we can mess with it in NumPy, but for now I just want to say like image.show. No such file directory. Common file types .png. Directory. How does that not work? Where's it trying to call from? Maybe the errors in that. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, you guys, I wanted to show it in line. Did I do that again? Python or Jupyter Notebook, show inline. Show image inline. There we go. Try in most intelligent AI model. How about you shut the fiddlesticks up? Okay, actually gonna put that up here from IPython display import display, and then I can show it inline. Display image. Boom. Okay, cool. So that's the easy enough stuff to do. And then the other thing we want to do is a very basic thing that we're gonna have to do a bunch is if we have an array, we want to read it in pretty simply, and then we're gonna look at of image, and then we're gonna look at the shape of the array, and as we can see, it is three-dimensional. What that means is each color channel is a three-dimensional type, and that's because it is functioning in RGB. And the thing that will let us convert, so this array is in 3D because I'm gonna actually write this in note sort of form because it is in RGB. We can, we'll leave that there. We can use the CV2 library to convert to LAB and HSV color spaces. And I'm gonna do it like this. And HSV color spaces. So we're gonna come up here, import CV2. Oops, not CVS. And then down here, if we want to go ahead and do these conversions, how do you do it? I think it's just straight, like if I want to do, say, like HSV image equals CV2 dot, I want to say it's just like RGB to what is it? It's like, how do you do it? Color change, config, compare. Convert from RGB to HSV. CVT color, that's what it is. Right. CVT color. We do our image, and then we have to do the kind of like the how does it do? You do CV2 dot color BG, all right, it's BGR instead of RGB 2, and then you have a ton of different selections here. We can do HSV, we can do a grayscale. The grayscale is actually kind of cool, because there's something that we'll want to do. Not necessarily, well, yes. Well, no, okay. Not the grayscale specifically. The grayscale reminded me of it. And then... But so that's like, oops. Ooh, what did it not like about that? But there's something that we'll want to do, and it has to do with H&E images and H&E normalization. Because H&E images, when they're looked at, have a lot of artifacts from when they are when the images are taken under a microscope. So we want to handle this. We want to deal with this, and one of the ways we can deal with this is through a normalization method that kind of universalizes the staining, because H&E is, you know, stained slides and cells. Excuse me. So we have to kind of approach this in a way that if we want to perform proper analysis, all of our slides have to be stained correctly. Anyways, so what was the issue with converting here? Overload resolution failed, non-numpy array, neither a scalar. Oh, I think I have to do it as a... I think I have to input my array image. Yeah, okay. So the thing about this is either... Oops. We input color space conversion as an array, or we input it as a CV2 image file, or imagery. But not a pillow image. Reason for that, it just doesn't like that conversion the same way it would like converting from stuff. The numpy being kind of our universal allows us to do those conversions relatively easy. But if we do this HSV image, let's go ahead and display it, see what we get. Display HSV image. Well, okay, we get an array, which makes sense. Same shape. But let's... Actually, can I go ahead and just, like, show it? Or do I have to do, like, CV2 show? Is that an option? I don't remember how to use the OpenCV library, really. Hey, that's why we're doing this. Ah, that's what it is. CV2. I keep writing CVS. Image show. HSV image. Missing required at position 2. Add argument and function. So I think this will only work if we don't do it from an array, but instead say a CV image. And then we read it in as a... Then we read it in as... and load it into our color conversion through there. Getting back our sea legs. Getting back our sea legs. One image at a time. Alright. Let's see. I needed to do a... So I wanted to do cv2.imageRead, and then we would do our path. And then here we do our CV image. It doesn't like this. I wonder if it's because the... Is it because our conversion to an HSV image converted it to a full array, and now I want it to convert... Do I have to do something to convert it back? Oh, HSV image... I try to remember. OpenCV 4.13 error, bad argument in function image show, overload resolution failed, missing required argument. Oh, is there a required title thing? Oh, there is. Okay, so you have to have a title. That's annoying. Excuse me. Python is not responding. Oh. Uh-oh. Kernel crashed while executing code. Okay, so it did not like trying to show that HSV image. Fair, I guess. But so this is like causes kernel to crash. That's worth noting. So if we want to then read it, it gets a bit tricky. Go ahead and restart our kernel. It was still running for some reason. Doesn't like that though. So one of the first things on our to-do list is going to be able to read it into different color spaces. That's an important thing. Different color spaces give us different properties. So this will be our little workplace. So okay, that's how I'll do it. I'll have Jupyter notebooks as our little workspaces themselves, and then I will have the actual Python files, which I will start writing now. More or less, will function the same, but will be actual functions instead of. I keep writing CVS. I don't know why. Import or import image. We don't. I'll just leave that as is for now. And this will be the file we'll call as just I'm trying to think of what's everything I'll want to have in this file. And ultimately I can rename it, so it's not that big of a deal. But I want to be able to try and be as succinct as possible with some of this stuff. So I guess we'll call it, I want it to include the reading files, or really I want it to include the kind of like file conversion, be that from color spaces or from file types. So I guess, you know what, this one will just be color conversion. That'll just be color conversion here. So this will be HSV to, or sorry, this will be RGB to HSV. We'll take an image. We're actually going to call the image, generally you want to work with either I or P. P you use as a matrix, I as the image, so we're going to have I be our image. We're going to have it just return currently nothing. I don't know why I did the semicolon there. This is not C++. But what it's going to do is it's going to take in an image, and then what do we want to do with said image? Well, we want to work out the kinks in our loading image test, and then we will get back to that. I feel like that's a good place to stop now. We have an idea of how we want to move forward, so let's write down what we want to do next time. So next time on Dragon Ball stream. So I guess just like a Toto. I call it a Toto. So many refer to it as a to-do list. I do not. Our Toto says that we need to RGB. So color space conversions. Forward and back. In any direction, I'll say. Print color space conversions. Converted images. And the other thing we want to do next time is read in several image types. Perfect. Dragon Ball stream. I wish. Dragon Ball stream would be awesome. I would love a Dragon Ball stream. Maybe I'll do that. Never understand how crowns work? What do you mean? Which crown? Like the crown that Starscream had in Transformers Cybertron? The greatest show ever written. You'll be Goku? That's fine. Vegeta's my favorite character. I will be Vegeta. You wanna see a GIF that gets featured my newest video? Oh, the YouTube crown? It just means the most frequent chatter at the exact time. Let me show you an image or a little GIF. How are you first? Basically, if like people haven't been chatting as much, then you end up, the people who chat more end up kind of like taking the cake, so to speak. Where is my? Oh no, it was in. This appears in my new video. This GIF gets used in my new video. I think even multiple times, actually. I think multiple times this GIF shows up. So yeah. Yeah, that's fine if you're better than me. You can rely on instinct, I'll rely on ego. And I'll just keep this playing in the corner. You know what we need to do, Kikado? We need to get an attachment for your model that is Super Saiyan Goku hair and like Goku hair with multiple different Super Saiyan forms, and I'll get one with multiple different Vegeta forms. Oh, I need to message Yurika. I wonder how much she would charge for giving me a hair change that lets me turn Super Saiyan. A Super Saiyan toggle where it just boom, my hair pops up and turns gold. I wonder how much she would charge for that. I'll have to ask her. But yeah. So I think that's a good place to stop it. We have our to do for next time. We have kind of a basic setup. We have a nice little project roadmap, so we know how we will move forward. You'll do that part on your end, okay? Anyways, I've been Poisson, variants, your mathematical I've been Poisson, variants, your mathematical maestro and LaTeX linguist. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye. Where's my ending screen? There it is.